Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today it is still warm. It's just not stiflingly hot. It's quite humid, as you may well tell from a growing sweat on my brow, but it's not so hot that I can't use this camera, for example. You know, last week I was trying to film and the camera would just sort of stop working after 30 seconds or so, but we seem to be okay. I'm definitely not hearing any overheating noises, and that's something I simply can't take for granted. So that's a good, I guess. So we have a camera. You're here with me, and I often say, this week's going to be a short, sharp, and sweet episode, and then I go on to yabber on for about 15 minutes or so, waxing lyrical about the given topic. But today I really do have to be fairly brief because I am quite busy. I've had a busy week, and I still have a busy day ahead of me. But I simply had to share with you this week this fantastic little find that I made in a local charity shop, Bernardo's, I believe, a charity for children who are, I think, orphans and otherwise in need of care. And this thing caught my eye because it looks like a wooden carving. It's not a wooden carving. I think it's moulded, actually. So it's definitely a copy of an original. But looking at the material, I think it's been cast or perhaps done using computer-aided design and manufacture, sort of carved out of a fairly light density wood, possibly an MDF or something like that, or LDF. But regardless, the detail is there, and it's a copy of an original by an artist called Karl Rothammer, who was originally born and trained in Bavaria, but moved in the 1950s to Canada and was fascinated by North America and its history. And this is actually a picture of Canadian loggers and workers producing maple syrup. So they're carving up the forest, chopping down trees, heating up the trees to get the sap, which I believe is the syrup, in this bowl here, and the little barrels are being prepared and taken away, presumably to market, maybe through the trees up there in the distance. There's a cat here who's hanging out with these two, observing the process, and also a little log cabin as well in the woods, presumably made out of the same trees that are being harvested to make the maple syrup. It's a beautiful little image, and not only is it a story encapsulated literally in the frame of the branches and the trunks on either side, but it's also something that just fascinated me immediately. I took a photo of this in the store, and I went away thinking, okay, well, I'll have a think about it. If I really want it, I'll go back for it. And I did really want it. So a couple of days later, I went back for it because it feels like a nursery rhyme, doesn't it? It feels like a Hansel and Gretel, Grimm's Tales kind of thing. But more to the point, this really reminded me of etchings from the fiction that surrounds the Blair Witch Project. So the tale of Ellie Kedwood being taken out into the forest and tied to a cart and left, to be exposed in the winter and die a frozen death. It feels like that sort of settler kind of making your way through the dark of the wild, sort of little world that's been created in this piece. And I love it. I really love it. And it's not just because it's dark and atmospheric, but because it's detailed and it draws the eye, and it really does tell a little story. And there you go. A little story from my little video. I really could keep talking, but I have promised myself I'll be brief this week. But I just had to share it. What do you think of it? It's quite dark. Mrs. Soup wasn't the biggest fan of it. Initially she was like, do you really want to get that? And she never says that to me. I've got Transformers and Batman toys and Ghostbusters and stuff all over the house, So this lives in my office, just by the door. But I am enamoured with this thing. I love it, and I think I'll just every now and then get it down and just stare at it. Just let it take me into the forest. Let it tell me a story, and I think the story so far changes with each viewing. I can sort of create other possibilities depending on what I notice when I look at it. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, do take care. Bye bye.